Now I like this, we've got a lovely old Austin Westminster 60s Farina designed saloon. I do like these big Farinas. Today on Car Traction we are in the little Standard 8 at Hopley House again for the Hopley House Farm Shop meet, and it's only probably about 9:30, but just look at the turnout we've had already, and cars are scrabbling to get in and get that prime parking spot. We've parked next to this lovely BMW 635 CSI. I'll have a closer look at that later because I'll have a look around all of the cars later. There is a lot here, and it looks to us. A TVR coming in as well, a couple of Land Rovers. It's going to be a promising meet. We were meant to come in the Dodge pickup, but that sadly failed to proceed this morning, so the only other alternative was the Standard. But there are lots of lovely old classic cars, especially that V8 MGB. That is an interesting car. I'll have a look at that after. You got our Grandad in his MGB and a friend of ours in the Lotus Cortina. But at the moment, let's just take a look at some of the cars pulling in. So we've got this lovely MGB Roadster in white. There's the lovely TVR, proper sports car, that. Great looking car, these. I like the black vinyl roof on that as well. Got the Volvo 144 behind, that's a regular, just rolling in now. So let's have a quick look at the rapidly expanding selection of cars here. So first of all we got Grandad, who was the first person here actually, so well done to him. Here's his lovely MGB GT. I did make a video solely about this car a few weeks ago, so if you haven't seen that, have a look at that after this video. Very lovely sports car. I've had a ride in it several times and it's very nice. Then we got a little Austin A35 here. This has got all the sort of period customization with the little caps on the lights, and we also got a sun visor, making this little car look very trendy and dressed up. The real competitor to our little Standard, this car. They both look quite similar. Tiny black 50s saloons. But yeah, these were the two competitors. They both have the same engine size, both of 803cc. We can see how the A35 and A30, which is the one that came before, the bonnet is a bit smaller, which would make it a bit harder to work on, perhaps. But still a very practical, usable and cute little car. Everyone will smile at you if you're driving this around town, because people love these things. Now here we go, this is something special now. This is not any normal MG. This is really cool. So this is an MGB GT, but that is what makes it special, and as you can see, it's gone through quite a bit of restoration. So this has the 3.5 litre Rover V8 in it, and it looks like it's been tuned up very, very nicely. We got some nice wide arches. We got the RV8 later wheels, which I think really suit this car. An extra grille and gubbins going on at the front, but that looks lovely, doesn't it? And I'm told it sounds wondrous by Grandad. That is a beautiful old car, that. That would be a great sort of GT touring car, sports car. And that lovely engine up front. I like the little louvers on the bonnet as well. This really is an interesting car, this. Nice sunroof. Speaking of MGBs, got a green GT rolling in now. That's also got the mini lights similar to Grandad's one. There they are. But yeah, I really like this. We've also got it debumpered at the back and front. Nice open roof. But yeah, really lovely old car. I like that hump in the bonnet actually. That is really, really cool. What a great thing that must be to drive. Now Now here is the Lotus Cortina that I previously spoke of. The roads were clean enough to warrant bringing this lovely old car out. A beautiful old fast Ford. I do like this car. The owner also has an Escort and an old Mini. Absolutely immaculate engine. Beautiful job it's done like that. Great fun old car these. Now what have we got over here? We got a fantastic example of a 60s sports car in the form of this lovely Sunbeam Alpine. What a lovely car this is. I'm told the owner of this has had it for 50 years. As you can see, it's quite an early car. The earlier cars had these slightly different fins at the back. As later ones would have been slightly sort of maybe less exaggerated, but what a great car. And if it's been here for 50 years, owned by this owner, then there's a chance that it might not have even been restored once, which means it's all original. But what a lovely little car that is. The colour of it really suits it as well. Gorgeous little thing. Really like that. So you can see it's really clean underneath. And here we got a Ford Model A. This is a two-door. This one, I presume it's got a dicky seat in the back. Lovely little car. Usually I don't like sort of beige and brown, but for this sort of thing, I think it really suits it. Also the white walls, so I presume that'll be the dicky seat in there for the unlucky passenger. Nice to see something pre-war here. Lovely condition inside, isn't it? What a great old car that is. I do like that.
Hey, if it carries on.
And beside that we got a lovely Triumph TR4A. This was here the last time that this meet was held. It should be a monthly meet, hopefully, or something like that. But anyway, this TR4A is a lovely car. I think the blue really suits it, but it is in lovely condition. Just take a look at this gorgeous interior. Absolutely beautiful car, this. Lovely old sports car. Immaculate condition as well, but I really like the Triumph TR4, 4A and 5. The 4 and 4 cylinders like this one, but it's still a great sounding car at the back, and perhaps would handle a bit better than the TR5, as it's a lighter lump at the front, as this is a 4 and the TR5 was a 6 cylinder. I think this is a Moss replica, Triumph based. Yes, Moss at the back. Can hear that Triumph straight 6. Here we got an MGB GT. This is quite a late one. Actually, all the Bs here are quite modified. This has got some pretty tasty looking mini lights on it. It's also got the period correct vinyl roof. That's nice to see. Practical classic car these, aren't they, really? A great example. Got another lovely old MGB GT. I've seen this at a few shows, and this is an example of a great way to modify an old car. It's got V8 brakes, just like Grandad's. It's got the larger mini lights, just like Grandad's. Lovely interior, but one interesting thing to notice about this car is look how high the bonnet goes now. I had a talk to the owner of this a couple of months ago, and you can see it's had additional struts, and this is just to bring the bonnet up really high, and it's one of the many things that has been done to this old B to make it a lot more usable. It's a really great example of how to improve an old car without wrecking it and putting all new parts in it. It is a lovely, lovely car, this. Got a TR4A, the second one here. Well, that's nice, looks like a 106 Healey. That's a lovely old car, that, followed by an MGTD. I'll definitely have to have a go and have a look at those. So what's next? We got a Rolls Royce Silver Shadow over here as Dad walks past. What a quality car. This is 6.75 litre engine, so not economical by any means, but it needs a big engine like that, because this car will be well over 2 tons, I can tell you that now. But yeah, a really, really nice car, that. Same can be said for this MGB Roadster. This is actually the only unmodified one we've got here. Lovely old seats inside, 4-speed. Was it a 5-speed? No, it's a 5-speed, that's interesting. 5-speed manual on a B. I say it's not modified, but I think it might be because it looks like a stainless exhaust, and being a 5-speed, something's going on underneath there. But again, another great example of how to improve an old car. Now this is a lovely example of an old MX-5. It's quite a late one because it's got the 1.8 badge there. Now that means that there were two options at this time of the later production of the MX-5. They were sold as a 1.6 and a 1.8, and the 1.6 was slightly sort of down-tuned because originally it would have just been the 1.8, but Mazda wanted a slightly cheaper model, so they did the 1.6 and kept the 1.8 as a slightly more upmarket model. We got another TR coming in, but this car's an R red, so it will be slightly later. Had this car about 2 or 3 years, I'm told, but it is a lovely example. All original, never been welded or anything. Just look at the arches, they're all lovely and original in there. No rot at all on this car. It's a manual one as well, so the one you'd want. But I mean, these MX-5s, they can rust quite easily, but it's been a while since I've seen an original one just like this. I mean, ours is actually a really good original one, and this one is as good as ours, really. It's really in brilliant condition. Beyond that, we got another 90s modern classic in the form of this MGF. Beyond the often seen Volvo 144, just over here, hiding, we've got a gold leaf liveried Lotus Elise. Now this is actually quite an early one from the 90s. Rear engine little sports car, proper handler's car. I believe that's the earliest ones, are probably the most pure driving sort of pleasure out of all of them because they're the lightest and smallest, but these are quite desirable little cars now. So a fun little thing to drive, that. Just over there is an MX-5. We've got quite a good turnout in the second car park. I thought I'd look first at this lovely open top Lotus Elan SE. What a great car this is. We were at Race Retro yesterday and we saw plenty of these. And this is as lovely an example as the mint ones on auction. Lovely little sports car. Of course, these were the inspiration for the Mazda MX-5, and you can see the similarities if I come around the front, compare it to the MX-5. But yeah, great little cars, the Lotus Elans. I do really like them. Beautiful little Tourer. I do really like that. And then we got another regular in the form of this Triumph 2000 here. See this one absolutely everywhere. Takes part in a lot of meets. Lovely car. Now I think there is some Triumph DNA in this car. This is a Moss replica, and I believe this is based on perhaps a GT6 or something like that, because it sounded like a 2-litre straight 6, which is the GT6 engine. Now this, is it 100M? Yes, it is 100M. So this isn't just the 104, 106, this is the sporty one. Now these are incredible things. You saw a few of these at Race Retro yesterday, but they're absolutely beautiful little things. Lovely louvers and the leather strap on the bonnet. These were like the sort of race prep ones, really. So ones very similar like this, perhaps even this one, may have been racing in the 60s for the Austin-heeley team. What a great interior that is. Beautiful old car, this one. That is absolutely gorgeous.
I sometimes
love that. Then we got another Triumph TR4A. This one looks a bit breathed on underneath. I can see a roll cage in the back. Nice painted wires. I do like the look of these painted wires, just slightly sort of scruffy, but it does make the car look very purposeful. But what a beauty this Austin-heeley is. Another lovely MGB Roadster. This has got the large mini lights and perhaps MGB V8 disc brakes. There's certainly disc brakes on it. This is another chrome bumper. We've only seen one rubber bumper. What a colour though. This has actually got the later style of interior. Well, it's the later steering wheel actually, but it's the earlier style of interior. So I'd date this car probably late 60s, early 70s. What a great fun little sports car. Now this is interesting. We've seen a Lotus Cortina, which is owned by a friend, and I'll have a look at that in a minute. But first of all, let's have a look at this Cortina GT. Now this is a slightly lower spec one, but it's been tastefully modified to bring it probably even more spec than the original Cortina GT. A great example of a 60s fast forward there. On the other end we got a quite a nice old red Beetle. This is a really nice example actually. Quite a late one. This is a 1302S, this one, so not the latest, but quite late, but nonetheless, it's in lovely condition. I wouldn't be surprised if that was all original condition. That is a really nice example there. Nice couple of Land Rovers here, starting off with this Series 1. So it's the first series, the earlier one out of the two. The other one's a Series 2. Nice old thing, same can be said for the Series 2. I like the chunky tyres on that. Great old usable things. I'll just keep on going. These will. Really simple to work on. Great classic cars really. And what have we got over here? We've got another Triumph TR4. I believe this is another TR4A actually. It's nice, isn't it? This one's got some sort of rally gear going on. I've seen it before, so perhaps it's a bit of a road rally car. I like those big wires on it. Got an MGTD here. Beyond that we got a Chevette. Sorry, not a Chevette actually. This is, what is it now? My brain's gone a bit dead. I'll have to look around the back. It's a Vauxhall style. That's it. The Droop Snoot Sports Hatch. That's what I meant to say. Sorry to the owner. But it's a great sort of time warp, really, isn't it? Black with red stripes. What a great livery for this car that is. I think these are really cool looking cars. Next up we got another nice old Vauxhall in the form of this HC Viva. Really original condition, this one. Over here we got some sheep admiring this 30s Ford Hot Rod. This is a cool thing, isn't it? I'm not a fan of chopping things, but it is quite cool nonetheless. Sounded the part coming in, but I was on the other side. It's quite a cool looking thing, isn't it? Yeah, I quite like that. Seems a shame to chop up a nice old saloon, but I guess if it was a sort of wreck, then build your own car out of it, put a bit of personality into it. Proper hot rod, isn't it? That is quite cool. That is not a bad looking thing, to be fair. Now I like this. We've got a lovely old Austin Westminster 60s Farina designed saloon. I do like these big Farinas. Lovely 6-cylinder engine up front. Great usable car. I don't see that many big Farina saloons anymore actually. I think you'd see more. This is an overdrive car, so it's really the one you'd want, but so spacious and practical. And really easy to drive. I presume it's probably a 4-speed overdrive car. But what a great old car that would be to drive. Lovely 6-cylinder engine up front, really easy to drive. Great visibility, just look how tall the windows are. Really practical car, these. Great old thing. The Westminster would have been already a car in the 50s, but you can see how the design's changed. In the 50s it would have been curving like that A35, now standard, but in the 60s Farina took over. And you see most old sorts of old Austin or BMC cars looking a bit like this, or the Wolseleys. They look a lot like this because it was trendy then, the Farina design, to have the sort of American style fins at the back and just a really sharp straight line saloon, and I do really like them. Got an MGB driving past here. Should have the roof down really, in a cheerful yellow car like that. Sounds like a stainless exhaust on there. Anyway, let's have a closer look at this Unos Roadster. So now this is not a UK market car like the Mazda MX-5 we saw earlier, but this is the Unos Roadster, and this one looks quite tastefully modified. Lovely twin cam engine, as I said. You can see how they were modelled on the Lotus Elan. Pop-up lights and all, but they're meant to sound quite similar as well. And this was the car that really kick-started people getting back into the sort of cute little sports cars like this, because in the 80s there wasn't really much desire, as you could say, for the cars like this, but the MX-5 brought all that back. Well, I promised a closer look at this lovely 635 CSI, and here we are. What a classy car that is. That looks like 100 grand, doesn't it? What a beautiful old thing this is. I like the British Airways bag in the back. That's quite cool. Bit of Concorde memorabilia. It says Concorde on it, actually. But it's just such a well-made car. These 90s Mercedes and BMWs, they just keep on going. Lovely. There's even a car phone. I do like car phones. What a classy thing this is. Just absolutely wonderful, isn't it? So nice. I love these huge wheels as well, and this car is absolutely immaculate. Might even be original. Lovely old thing. Here we've got a Mini 1275 GT. Great colour for that, isn't it? And here we've got a nice old TVR as the Caterham rolls in. I do like these old TVRs.
Yeah. I might have some stuff at home that might be of interest to you in your workshops. I've got some cool stuff.
Well, I think with that, pretty much everyone has left, even the standards leaving. I'll have to hop in quickly. So please remember to subscribe, check out the last video of this event, and comment below what you liked, and check out the channel homepage for more exciting car traction videos. Thanks for watching.